Please welcome Head of Global Solutions Consulting, Beverly Gibson.
Hello, good afternoon. I have a couple of hard acts to follow, following Dan Taccone and Thad with his excellent panel, but we're going to do our best to make sure that we show you something that perhaps you haven't all seen before. So I'm going to be leading the charge of the integrated demonstration, but I am not a cast alone. The solutions consulting team, many of whom you've probably already met before because they've been in your firms talking to you about our products, and I'll introduce them in a minute. Something I like to talk about when we talk about our products is they are simple, efficient, and integrated. And so it's simple to put them to work within your firm. They're integrated in that they can all talk to each other, and they hopefully make the lives of your lawyers and risk analysts and risk officers and conflicts analysts simpler and more efficient. So let me talk you through a little bit, and I'm going to do an introduction when I talk you through this part of who is going to be doing the demonstration today. So first up, we have Peter Scott. And Peter will be playing a lawyer, and he is going to be using Intapp Open Mobile. And he will do a quick search very quickly. And then we're going to pivot to him doing the intake process on the desktop with Intapp Open, the intake portion. And when he does that intake, he's actually going to cover the terms product, and he's also going to do a little AML as well. So we're trying to throw everything in so you get a taste of how to make it all work. Then we're going to pivot from Peter to Andrea Bertino. And Andrea is going to be a conflicts analyst in our presentation today. And she is going to run a conflict search and convert that quick search to a full conflict search and run a conflict search for that new intake. And one of the things that we've incorporated in our scenario today is she's actually going to use the scoring mechanism that we offer to help her assess how good this matter is for the firm. After Andrea, we're going to have Jesse Meredith. And he's a lawyer today as well, and he's going to be using the intake product, Intapp Open, on the desktop. And he is going to review the conflicts report. Then he's going to generate an engagement letter to be sent to the client. After he's done that in typical lawyerly fashion, he's already actually been working on this matter for a few weeks, and he needs to bill some time. So he's going to use Intapp Time Mobile to actually log that time against that new matter that was just sent off. And then we're going to pivot from Jesse to Derek Huey. And he is going to be a risk officer in our scenario. And he needs to actually, because there are some confidentiality matters around this new matter, he's going to use the Walls product to enable a wall around that confidentiality. And he's also going to use Matter Team Manager and look at the Matter Team. And then, because we have a solutions consulting team playing this, and we are part of a law firm, and not everybody within this team follows rules, I'm sure, unlike people in your firm. And we, through Activity Tracker, are detecting some suspicious activity. And something must be done. So he's going to use Activity Tracker. He's going to uncover that suspicious activity. And then he needs to book a conference room to go talk to HR. And I am the HR analyst. And for anybody who's seen this presentation at ILTA, I'm very happy to announce that I have been promoted. I was a legal assistant at ILTA. I am now the HR manager. And I decide, using our workflow product, after meeting with partners, that we need to nip this in the bud and deal with that employee that has done some suspicious activity. And we'll be showing the workflow product, both to book the conference room and to handle the employee. And so that is our make-believe law firm, day in the life, using all the products integrated. Now, I'm sure most, if not all of you, have at least one of our products, hopefully multiple products, and are excited to share our vision of the interplay of those products. And we look forward to working with you over the next 3 days and learning how you are integrating the products. But without further ado, Peter is up.
Intap Open provides a robust mobile interface that allows users to access key features and functions of the platform from any device. Peter is playing the role of an attorney at a dinner meeting. His client is in need of assistance on a new matter that has recently come to light.
All right, well, good afternoon. So I've spent pretty much all evening talking to a client of mine, a chap called Richard. Now, Richard's the managing director of a firm called Pied Piper. You might have heard of it. So the time spent with Richard was fantastic, and I don't see any particular problems in moving forward with the matter that he's concerned about. And in this instance, the matter is a litigation matter, and we've spoken about some of the parties involved, and I don't think there's going to be too many problems. But I need to carry out just some due diligence and go back to my database and my system inside the firm and just carry out some checks to see whether or not the business is happy for me to proceed with that. So it's very straightforward for me to be able to do it. I can actually pick up my mobile device, come into it, and open my mobile app. Once I'm in the app, I simply go to the quick search section and I start carrying out my search. So I'm actually going to add some parties at this stage. I'm going to add Pied Piper as my company and then my client. I will add Apple as an adverse party. And then I'm going to go ahead and add Hooli as an adverse party. Once I've done that, it's really easy for me to be able to start that search, go away, and then seek authentication and approval on whether or not I can actually start that. So this has gone away directly into my database and said, based on the information I've provided, are we happy to proceed? The answer is yes. I can't see any foreseeable problems. And this is the great thing about the mobile app. I can carry out all my daily tasks as if I was in the office, but I can get super fast approval on whether or not I'm able to proceed. Fast forward to the following Monday. I find myself in the office. To be fair, Richard and I, we went out, probably had a few too many drinks, got in a bit late. I know, I don't look the sort. But in this instance, we went out, had a few too many drinks, came in, and it's really easy for me to be able to come directly into the software. I come to my dashboard, and I can come into the quick search area. Once I'm here, I can actually pick up the quick search that I carried out on Saturday night. So all of my party information that I entered then, I'm able to use now. And it means that none of the productivity, because I've come in, I'm not feeling great, I'm still as productive as I would have been. Let's pick up that quick search. You can see my party information's already in there as well. I have the ability to be able to create a new request directly from inside my quick search. I'm just going to confirm that it's Pied Piper as my client. And I'm going to start off a new matter intake process. Now, I've created that from directly in my quick search that makes it really quick and efficient. Once I'm in the form, I'm initially greeted with an overview, so I can see some relevant fields that are particularly pertinent to this particular matter. So, for example, I've got my client name and my client ID. If I scroll down into the body of the form itself, immediately I can see that there's actual special terms of business that apply to this client. So this might be special terms, or it could be outside counsel guidelines. Now, thanks to our integration with our brand new terms product, it can bring all of that information into your intake form, and you can see it immediately. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in our firm, sometimes we don't even know if there's special terms with our clients or outside counsel guidelines. And if we do, does anybody know where they actually are? They could be off in a filing cabinet somewhere, someone's in tray, or even in someone's top drawer in their desk. The great thing about this is I can see everything, and it's a click of the button away. So as we look through our key terms, you can see that there's actually some billing restrictions, some jurisdictional information, but also some informational barriers. Now, I need to find out a bit more about that, so I'm going to go ahead and click into it. This is going to take me directly in, and I can look at all of the special terms associated to this client. Let's go in and take a look at the information barrier. Now, this is fantastic. We're actually inside the document itself now, and all of the key term areas are tagged. So if I wanted to go to each individual one, I'm able to do that. But if we look at the narrative that we've got, the confidentiality around this means that only myself and my team members are able to access this particular matter. So I'm going to need to bear that in mind as we proceed through filling out the form. We get back into the form, and you can see that it's myself that's initiated this particular piece of work. My practice area is going to be litigation. My default office is in London, surprise, surprise, with my accent. And I'm actually going to put a matter name in here of Inception 2016. And that's going to be my matter description as well. Moving further down the form, the question that I'm basically given from my form is this matter confidential? Any prizes for guessing? Well, we've seen that because it's in terms. But you'll notice that the tick box has actually got a tick in it already. I haven't had to do anything. And that's because of our integration that's deeply built into our products. And it's actually going out to terms, checking it, and it's coming back and saying, yes, it is confidential. So I'm going to set that up for you. In addition to which, once it's done that, it will go off, integrate with our Walls product, and actually create an information barrier for you as well. With that in mind, it's asking if, yes, please provide the reason why there's additional security controls. Once again, it's gone out, special terms apply for this client, it can see that and set that field by default. The final field in this area, do I need to add anyone else to this? Well, in this instance, yes, I need to add my colleague Jesse, surprise, surprise, because over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be in and out of the office, and I want to make sure there's no delay on being able to carry out billable work. So let's add Jesse. Because I'm in London, there's a need to carry out some AML collection of data. Risk are very keen on pulling this information in, and they won't allow us to move forward with any matters until we fill this in. In this instance, I've worked with Pied Piper for some time, and they're actually a US LLP company. I could attach some information at this stage if I wanted to. And the next question is, has anyone met anyone from that firm? Well, yes, clearly I was out with Richard Saturday night, and we had a great time. So I can say yes to that. The final question in this area is, where are we in terms of the market sector for this company? So are they listed, are they non-listed, are they IPO? Again, I've worked with them for a while, so we're putting that information in as unlisted. Now that I've captured all of that information, I can submit that, and I can even add a comment for our risk team. Please action this ASAP. It's as easy as that for me to populate that information and then ask the risk team to proceed with a conflicts check. Thank you.
Open Conflicts continues to evolve with new features and functions being regularly released. Andrea is playing the part of a conflicts analyst, converting the quick search Peter initiated the night before into a conflict search.
All right, so my responsibility at the firm is to run conflict checks for the attorneys. And as you can see on my dashboard, I have the urgent request from Peter, Inception 2016. So let's go and take a look at that. Now, before I go in and run the search, I just want to take a quick look at the AML score. With the questions that Peter has responded to on the form, along with the scoring rules that we've configured, the system is creating a score result that is indicating whether this client is a potential risk for AML compliance. Looking at the green result, I know that that is not the case here, so we have no concern for risk, and I can go into the conflicts. And the first thing I'll do is convert that quick search that Peter submitted as a complete new business intake search. And we can see that my parties are underlined, indicating that there's a potential match in our database. This is important to me because it reduces or minimizes the potential duplicate data in our database, which has been a concern for us in the past before we had open. So once I match that to the party that's already in the database, There are other benefits to this feature, and that is that the search strategy is already created for me. So this is saving me a lot of time from having to recreate the search, add search terms, it's all there. This is also important because I'm not the only one in the firm that are running these searches, and it's allowing for a consistent search across the firm, well, in my department, actually. In addition to the search strategy, I also have the ability to add additional companies through the corporate tree integration. So if I wanted to add parent affiliates, any other affiliated companies, I can do that with the integration to the corporate tree. And now I can go in and run the search. And the results are presented back to me. And I know that the results are relevant because we have configured rules and filters for the search within the firm. So we have a consistent rule base and filter system. So the data that comes back to me, I know is relevant. So I'm not looking at things that are 10 years old, 2 years old, whatever we chose. In addition to those rules and filters, we also have a ranking system and a business warning indicator, which allows me to be able to see very clearly and quickly that there's a potential exposure for the firm. In this case, I know Apple was a client and is now a adverse party. And because we have a centralized process in our firm, another responsibility that I have is to clear these conflicts. So for Apple, clearly we need a waiver since they have been a client. And for the others, I will just resolve them before I send the report back to the team that's working on the matter. So once I've resolved all of the hits, now I can prepare the report and send it to the team members, and that would be Peter and Jesse, who is going to be working with Peter on this matter. And I'll create the email template that will go back to the team. We have a black book security warning here. So one of the hits, which was Hooli, was identified as a competitor and came up as a black book hit, and it looks like Jesse and Peter are blocked from that information. I can override that here, but we'll continue to proceed. So now I can send the email template to the team members, and the last part for my task here is to complete the conflicts, and it's now the next step in the process.
Getting engagement letters out the door, signed, and back into the system is always difficult and doesn't always happen. Intap Open integrates with the leading document generation platforms and electronic signature providers to help simplify the process. Jesse is playing the role of a billing lawyer who is working with Peter on the new matter. Peter is out for the day and has asked Jesse to generate the engagement letter and get the new matter set up across the firm.
So I'm very glad that I, as a lawyer, work in a firm that's centralized because I'm quite lazy, actually, when it comes to the tasks that you think I would be very diligent with. Let's make this a little bigger for you guys here. So what it's doing here is it's letting me know that we've already come in and the conflicts have actually been cleared for me already. Now, I don't know about lawyers in your case, but a lot of times they're just scanning through, not even looking at the information related to that. I'm very similar, and so I'll take a quick look at it and say, no, we're ready to move on to that. So we're going to bypass that entirely. Now, I do need to complete the engagement letter section. And so this is, unfortunately, one of the things that I like least about our system is it automatically creates the engagement letter for me. Part of the reason I don't like it is because I'm very creative, and I had a bunch of templates that I used on my own, and I saved them on my desktop. Instead of basing them based on litigation or I don't know, M&A or something like that, I had things that were haikus and iambic pentameter, and that was my standard go-to kind of for the engagement letter. So we'll go ahead and we'll create one here automatically. I guess I'll go through the standard template. Now this is pulling from our system, and it knows that it's a litigation matter, so it automatically generates that style for me. I can click into the details and pull it up here and see that it's populated all the client matter information. Again, this is leveraging an external system to automatically generate that. We can even work with DocuSign to send this out and track an electronic signature on the way back in. As far as the next step in the process, I've completed everything that I care about, and I'm ready to start billing against it. So I'm going to go ahead and create the matter. Now, one of the things that tends to take a heck of a lot of the time in the past, and I'm told from IT that it's a very difficult thing, is the integration that actually goes out and creates the matter. I'm not sure why it takes all that time, but it seems like it must be a very complicated process because all I'm doing is clicking at a button and 2 hours, 10 hours, 3 days goes by and before I can bill against it. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. With our system, it automatically generates the matter for me to bill against in the time entry system, the DMS, the financial system, all the other interconnected systems there.
The new matter has been approved and the engagement letter has been signed and returned. It is time to start working and billing on the new matter. Jesse has stepped out to grab some lunch but wants to confirm the matter is in the time system, so he uses his phone to enter time against the new matter.
Perfect. So I've pulled up Intap Time here, and this is again on my mobile device, and I'm on the go a lot, so I like to work through this. Now, I mentioned that I've been working with Peter for a couple days on this already, and so it's convenient that I was able to enter time in. Now, again, I don't know about your attorneys, but every single one that I know starts working before the matter's even opened. It's a little bit difficult in a lot of systems, but what I've done here is created a temporary matter that I'm actually logging my time against, and you can see right here there's a temporary entry. It's all filled out against that temporary matter number, so I'm not billing against our 9999 number or anything like that. Now, what I want to do, because that matter now exists in our system, is actually transfer all that data. So I'll go ahead and search for this matter that I've been working against, this temporary matter, select it, and I'll look for the brand new matter that's now been created in the system. We'll see that it's the Inception 2016 there. It indicates that it found 5 matching entries, so I'll go ahead and transfer all those over. And once it does that, you see that it's now been finalized there. I can go in and release that time. I'm ready to. I actually did some work this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and enter in some additional time. I'll bump up these hours a little bit here, 3 hours against Pied Piper again, and it was that Inception matter. Let's make a note here as to what I was doing. So 3 hours binge-watched Silicon Valley on HBO. Quote, research, unquote. So we'll save that, release it. And just like that, I've entered and released time against Intap Time. Thank you.
Intap Walls provides a single point of entry for management of security across multiple platforms in your organization. It also provides the ability to identify suspicious activity. Derek is playing the role of the risk manager and wants to confirm the new wall has been configured correctly, as well as review the activity tracker for any anomalies.
So now that Andrea and Peter and Jesse have pushed the matter through intake and conflicts, Jesse's been able to bill some time against it in the billing system. I want to take a look at walls and ensure that the matter's being set up there correctly. And as I come into walls, I'm presented with the policies by type widget. And the great part about this widget is I can drill into any policy in the system and quickly see what's going on. One of the things that used to keep me up at night as a risk manager was I never had any idea what was going on across the multitude of systems we had in place. Each of those systems had their own security setup, and there was no way to get a holistic view of what was going on across all of those systems. With walls, I can quickly drill into any one of the policies in the system and identify exactly what's going on from a security standpoint. The widget next to that, the recent activity widget, which you can see here, is actually showing the new matter or the new policy that was created. So let's open that up. What we're looking at here is the policy detail. And what's nice about this, Walls is actually tracking everything that's going on with this policy throughout its life cycle. So if you ever are asked by a client to understand exactly how their matters are being secured or you're audited, you can quickly come in here, find the policy, and get a complete audit of exactly what happened with that policy throughout the life cycle. And scroll down to the bottom. We're going to click on the Matter Team Manager and open that up as well. Since the beginning of time, there's been a tension between the business and the risk team in IT as well. The business wants complete autonomy over the systems that they work inside of. But those systems are a very small piece of a much larger ecosystem. And if we were to allow them to have complete control, the downstream impact of that larger ecosystem could be pretty significant. So we use tools like Matter Team Manager to give them enough rope that they can do the things they need to do and feel like they've got some control over what's going on, but not so much rope that they can hang themselves and myself along with them. So they can do things like add and remove users to the policy and a number of other things that they can get done. But the system does introduce some safety measures so that they don't do things like add a user who's going to conflict or collide with another policy. So as Beverly mentioned earlier, we need to go take a look at Activity Tracker as well. So Activity Tracker is up 24 hours a day, watching what's going on. And we can see yesterday or today, there was some nefarious activity. And it appears that young Mr. Scott has been doing some things that perhaps he should not have. Let's take a look at what he's been doing. The Activity Tracker is throwing a flag based on the lateral departure. And it appears, from what we're seeing here on the screen, that Peter's got his hand in the cookie jar, and he's pulling out all sorts of things he shouldn't be. So based on what I'm seeing on the screen, I clearly need to have a conversation with HR, pass this information along, and see what they want to do with that.
Based on the information Derek identified in the
Excellent.
activity tracker, he wants to schedule a meeting with the HR manager and needs to reserve a conference room.
So behind me, you'll see the conference room registration form that's been built in Flow. In order to talk about Flow, I'm actually going to take off my risk manager hat, and I'm going to put on my consultant hat. As a consultant, what I would tell you is workflow is one of the most underrated investments you can make in your business. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but there's two of them that I think are really important. One, the manual activity at your organization is taking up a lot more time than you imagine, and it's taking up significantly more billable time than you believe. The second is the data. Once you start automating processes at your organization, you'll start collecting data about what's going on. You'll begin to understand exactly what processes are being fired. Are there bottlenecks in your organization? Are the investments you're making in process and other things sort of getting return on those investments? So let's talk about what this actually means when you go to generate workflow. So when you're thinking about workflow in your organization, don't think about trying to grab back hours at a time. Workflow is an incremental gain. So as you create new workflows and introduce them, you're going to pull back 5 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 4 minutes over here with this workflow, and 7 minutes with this workflow. And when you compound that over all of the billable resources at the firm, over a day, and then a week, and then a month, and then a year, when you do the math on that, that starts to add up to significant amounts of revenue. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and depending on the size of the firm, it could be millions of dollars. So again, when you're thinking about workflow, don't think about trying to pull back huge chunks of time with each workflow you introduce. Think about the little efficiency gains that you can make as you create and automate more and more processes. So I'm going to take off my consultant hat, put my risk manager hat back on, and as you remember, Peter has clearly run afoul of some of the policies at the organization. So I've had a meeting with Beverly. I've passed along what we found in Activity Tracker. And from what I can tell, it looks like Peter's not going to be around much longer.
The meeting Derek scheduled earlier has ended, and it is clear that Peter has become a liability to the firm. Beverly is playing the role of HR manager, and she doesn't want to waste any time kicking Peter off the network. Beverly pulls out her phone and starts the offboarding process on her way to Peter's desk.
This is a very big phone, also known as an iPad, but that's okay. And this is my, I didn't have glasses at first. That's because I wasn't the HR manager. Now I need to read, so I have on glasses, and I'm the HR manager. So I had a very disturbing meeting with Derek. I got all the partners together, and we talked about what we should do about Peter, and the conclusion was that he must go. So we have a workflow established within the company that allows me, within HR, to do a lot of processes that used to take me a lot of time and energy. Emails being exchanged between different departments, those weren't tracked. I didn't know what was happening. Sometimes I had to follow up. And so I was delighted to get a workflow product that allows me to easily track what happens with my HR processes. And so here I'm going to do an employee dismissal, and I'm going to create it. And if you recall, when Derek did workflow, he was on his laptop. Now I'm on a mobile device. And I need to select the user, and we know it is that dastardly, and we didn't like his accent anyway, Mr. Scott. So we're going to select him. And I love the mobile device because I don't really have to type, and I'm an old school kind of person. I see my kids do the thumb thing. I'm not very adept at that. I'm a finger pointer. But with ours, workflow set up here on the mobile device, all I have to do is select things. I never have to type at all. So I'm going to look so efficient up here. So I know that it's going to be a termination. I have to select a date. Looks good to me. He must go today. Somebody help him with his bags. We're going to disable his accounts because a lot of times with dismissals, that's the hard part. What systems are they still in? Did I hit all of the systems I need to remove them from? But when you have an effective workflow, that can be done for you automatically. And I need those disabled today because Peter is leaving today. And of course, we don't want him sending out any emails, either internally about, oh, I got to go. Let me tell you what just happened, John. I just got walked out. Or externally to other folks or clients for all those documents he was downloading. He probably has a plan. And so I want that email terminated as of today. Now, as soon as I select all of this, put it in the workflow system, complete it, it happens. All I have to do is track it within the workflow. I don't have to go wait for somebody to send me an email. I can check the status on it, and it's very easy for me. Has made my job much simpler as an HR manager within our imaginary law firm. Okay, so that concludes our integrated demonstration for you. And I want to recap a little and take you through what you saw today. So you saw all of Intap's products, I think, pretty much, both on mobile devices and on laptop. And not only did we show you iPhone, but we showed you the iPad as well. So we started out with Intap Open on a mobile device. We moved to the laptop to do the intake. Then we stayed on the laptop to go do conflicts. Then we went to the laptop and completed the conflict search and did engagement letters. We threw in a little AML and scoring along the way. We highlighted our new terms product on the laptop. Then we went back to mobile and we did time entry. And that could have been done on the laptop as well, but we chose to do it on the mobile device. Then we went back to the laptop, showed you the Walls product that's going to help you to deal with information barriers, activity tracker, matter team management. And then we concluded with the Flow product that can automate your workflows in a very simple process and integrate with all of our products. And one of the products that we didn't mention, but it underlies everything that you saw today, is our Integrate product. And that is really the glue that sticks it all together. So hopefully it gave you a great idea and tickled your imagination about things you might want to try when you go back to your firms. And when you go to Birds of a Feather session or hands-on or expert lounges, you have different questions to ask. But what I'd like to do before we conclude is invite the team back up that presented today. Thank you, guys. And I want to introduce 3 additional people. So if David Robinson, Dave Semperi, and Christian Ugla could come up. This includes all of the solutions consulting team that's here at Inception for the week. Grab us in the hallway, grab us in sessions. We're here to answer your questions and make sure that you don't leave here with any questions about how our products can help to make the lives better of your law firm participants, employees. And we are delighted to have had this time with you today. It's an honor to be able to take the big stage. And thank you, team.